Welcome back to Wickerson Studios. I've been just making some interesting creative coding, and I did finally get a reparameterized account open, and here it is. If you want to join, it looks like it's going to be fun. It's this site, and I think, because I'm pretty new to it all, got lots of channels I'll be adding to. I brought in all my videos, so you can see my Grasshopper video playlist, my Rhino, my Teach Python, C#, some generative design, some robotics, and actually, no, I don't have any machine learning or artificial intelligence. It does link to my Patreon, to my Github. You can pick up all the files, and YouTube channels in general, a little bit of additive manufacturing, the domain plugin, and MSGS GM, which I've been working on pretty hard with reparameterized. You can see they follow parametric camp, reparameterized, and the Grasshopper site by Danny. And pretty excited about this in digital futures. So let's take a look at what's happening here. I've got a pretty interesting script that if you look at the whole thing, it's basically a base geometry that I put it through mass, do some geometry transformations, which are pretty basic 101 Grasshopper things. I do have an oscillation that I put through some trigonometry. I do some remapping, and I do some color finishing. So when you activate the oscillation, that's where you really can get into the 4 dimensions and start to really crank these and move them and have this little disco town going. So that's basically what I have going on. I'm going to turn this off so we can actually take a look at it. And what has actually happened pretty quickly is I built a 4-cell grid, and there it is. When I take this off, of course I'll have to take it out of render to see it. Basically make a square grid. Take a look at your mass, take a look at your cells and your points, see what's actually happening. I'm actually only using the cells, and masking is key. BIM Architect, BIM Corner gives you all of the specs on how to write your mask, and that's really what I'm focusing in on, is how I can start to gain hold to data, so I can only hold up this data and this data. So once you start doing that, you have the ability to grab out of that whole thing just the information that you want at times. So with grabbing that top one, I do have to call out by cleaning tree, and I grab a list length, I put it through a range, which means I'm going to be doing a little jittered move, which is up like this, and of course you can play off of those jitters and make them kind of dance and do whatever you want. You can pull them into a higher height, and you have a another jitter node down here to affect this one, these geometries and these geometries. So you see that those are the two as they kind of step up, and as I jitter them around, they'll kind of change, and I think those are the seeds that will change them. I have to clean tree again, get back to the ones I want. You have to use the match tree function in case you wanted to do any work with the match trees, finding the centroids and doing a revolution. So these two pull out pretty nicely as a good revolve from the base. And I've tucked in all that information here. I grabbed the center and deconstructed just so I could grab a remap, because that allows me to use that as a gradient tool. But basically it's 3 bits of geometry pulled into this series. There they are. Some of them kind of fall over each other, some of them flip-flop. You put a loft through them all and you end up with this form. You put a surface on each one and you end up with those in the middle, and you get a nice geometry that's colored when you take it over to rendered. And there you go. You get a nice little town. I call it my town of perpetual joy, or a town of perpetual happiness. Let's throw it in a little dance and see how it's going, and there we go. Nice little animation. If you're into Unity, that's why I kind of threw the blue on there. I don't know why. I thought I was playing around a little bit with that, and I thought this was a nice way to make my own little scripts that do a little do-si-do for you. And the only thing I've done different here is I just changed the lens length under properties, which makes it a little more interesting to jump in here and get into that town. Not sure if I'm going to crash under turntable, but let's do it. No, it'll jump between turns, and you can actually have a little bit of stop motion animation as you're rolling around. Pretty simple stuff. I hope you enjoy it. 4 minutes. Let's get going.